5 clean, balanced, perfectly timed meals consumed every day. According to the studies, this may be the most optimal way to eat if you always want to be anabolic. But will it actually make a difference, and how much will it affect someone like me coming from intermittent fasting that is eating usually only once per day? Will I build muscle and lose body fat, or will having a meal every 3 hours be too much to handle? Let's find out, but you gotta focus. Starting off day one right here, I have 2 pounds of extra lean ground chicken spread throughout these 5 meals with 2 cups of rice, broccoli, an avocado, 1 tablespoon of olive oil spread throughout these meals, and then a little secret ingredient, Parmesan Reggiano. The real stuff, the raw stuff right here. My goal is going to be to stick around 3,000 calories every single day and get at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight to maximize that muscle protein synthesis. So the total calories for this meal is pretty close to 3,000, so we're right on track, and we have a ton of protein according to MyFitnessPal. That seems a lot more than, but yeah, definitely at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So to time this out perfectly to maximize muscle protein synthesis and hopefully stay anabolic, right? I'm going to be eating my first meal at 9 a.m., my second meal at 12 noon, my third meal at 3 p.m., my fourth meal at 6 p.m., and my final 5th meal at 9 p.m. And with that being said, it is currently 9:16 a.m., so I'm running a little late. I'm gonna get this first meal down right here for today. Let us begin. So why 5 meals a day?
It's not bad.
Well, back some years ago, it was proposed that it was only optimal to consume 20 to 25 grams of high-quality protein per meal to maximize protein absorption and muscle protein synthesis. Anything over that amount would be used as energy or essentially wasted, which was typically why back in the day you'd see most athletes and bodybuilders eat 6, 7, 8 smaller meals. However, a more recent conclusion based on more current evidence suggests that in order to maximize anabolism, the building of muscle, an individual weighing around my weight, approximately 190 pounds, should consume between 40 and 50 grams of protein per pound of body weight, spread throughout 4 meals. But I decided to add some old school bodybuilding mentality as well as some bro science to this by making sure I was eating at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every day and spreading this out evenly so that I could perfectly space each meal 3 hours apart, with my first and last meals starting and finishing at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m.
All right, we're making a quick run to the store and I'm gonna get more food for tomorrow. 2.5 hours until I need to eat again. The wife is driving because my car is out of commission right now because I was rear-ended. Yeah, I'm gonna get that fixed later, hopefully.
Now, one thing I wanted to be on top of to hopefully get this experiment to work smoothly was planning my meals ahead. On day 1, I prepared all my meals for day 1 before 9 a.m. on day 1, but also on day 1 between meals 2 and 3, I went to the store to purchase the ingredients for my meals on day 2. And then having to hurry home to consume my 3rd meal at 3 p.m., I then prepared all of my meals for day 2 between meals 3 and 4 on day 1. As confusing as this may sound, just think of it like I was either always eating or preparing a meal to eat the next day. Now, I could have been way more on top of this and probably meal prepped like 3 days in a row, but I am such a diva and I like my food as fresh as possible, so I figured 1 day at a time was doable. But let me just tell you that it was actually more of a hassle than I assumed and felt more like a part-time job of either cooking or eating. And finally at 9 p.m. finishing up my final plate, while not totally super full or satisfied or anything like that, I was content and ready for day 2.
Good morning, guys. It is day 2. We're gonna get this show on the road. I'm actually really hungry. I could weigh it out, but I feel like I'm pretty good at eyeballing. You know, I'm just gonna eat this cold, this first one. Don't be afraid. Now, I left some room in my calories today because post-workout, I might throw in some chopped up pineapple, might get a little fruit in today. But other than that, guys, the most anabolic plate ever. If I have this 5 times perfectly spread out, I'm feeling like I'm just gonna constantly have amino acids running through my bloodstream. Even if that's just bro science, that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm thinking about just like growth and getting leaner at the same time. Gotta have that positive mindset. And on top of that, can somebody just say clean as it gets? You know, this is like the poster child for a clean meal right here.
So starting day 2 with 1/5 of everything I cooked for the day, which would add up to be a total of 2 pounds of 90-10 ground grass-fed beef, 2 pounds of sweet potato, and 5 heads of bok choy lightly sauteed, plus about 200 grams of pineapple later. First thing I want to say about this is I feel absolutely grateful and blessed to have access to such clean, high quality food, and that is also another theme of this 5 meals a day, is that everything I am eating for my meals I plan to be high quality, wholesome, or quote unquote clean as possible, minimizing consumption of powders, bars, processed foods, etc. in order to once again maximize anabolic growth, but also hopefully maximize health and performance. And for real, jumping into a workout about an hour after meal 1 on day 2, my workout felt extraordinary. I had tons of energy, my joints and every movement felt good, but also on top of this, I felt like my pump was exponentially better than it normally is during workouts that I normally do fasted. Now, aside from these positive benefits I felt were attributed to eating these smaller meals consistently throughout the day, around about 30 minutes into the workout, I felt my energy levels drop off significantly, and then spontaneously felt an increase in hunger. Usually when I'm doing a fasted workout, I notice almost an unlimited amount of energy. Regardless, luckily for the time being, it was close to noon, so I was ready to prepare my meal too. Adding in some pineapple, this post-workout meal went down smooth. Immediately afterwards, to maximize time before I had to eat my next meal, my wife and I hit up the courts to participate in the growing viral sport of pickleball. But very shortly into the game, I found that always having a feeling of a full stomach isn't beneficial, especially when you're trying to hustle in an athletic sport. Excuse me. Nevertheless, making it home in time to have meal 3 at 3, then preparing the next pile of food for the next day, while heating up meal 4 and then consuming it at 6 p.m., and then finishing off the night with meal 5 at 9 p.m.
I feel like just more bass.
Day 3 was pretty much a ditto of day 2 in regards of how the flow of the day went around the meals, except for the food I pre-prepared was chicken breast, rice, and any green of choice. Day 3 was on Sunday and I was planning to be out doing stuff, so I had to pack some meals with me and eat them on the go, which wasn't bad, it was just something that had to be done. And there was something about this discipline which circled back around and was motivating. Like I'm an outsider who has to eat every 3 hours to power this body, bro. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. Now on a sour note, eating the exact same thing, usually cold, 5 times a day was getting kind of old. So I finished up day 3 with excitement for day 4, where I would try to make every meal fresh and new.
So I woke up early today, and you would think because I woke up early, didn't that mean I got a head start on prepping my meals for today? Well, you know what? No. You can call me a diva, whatever. I am just sick of eating the same cold, monotonous meal 5 times a day. So today, on day 4, I have decided I would cook each and every one of my meals fresh. And starting out right now, just about 9 a.m., my first meal of 5 hard-boiled eggs, 1.5 servings of oats with a chopped up banana on top, and some black coffee to wash it down. A perfectly balanced breakfast of champions. It's hot, it's fresh, and I'm really looking forward to this. It smells like a fart.
Sick of every meal feeling like leftovers, on day 4 I decided to cook every meal fresh. As I would find out, this was quite tedious, inefficient, and a lot harder than I anticipated. I finished up meal 1, got back to work, and in what felt like no time at all, I had to start making meal 2.
So it's going on noon right now. My wife's actually home. She is making her entire dinner right now and just gonna have a little bit for lunch. But me, because I want everything fresh and hot today, what I am doing is I'm gonna cook 1/3 of a pound of chicken fresh, and I'm also making 1/3 of a cup of rice fresh, which I will pair with, I think, about 1/3 of an avocado. Yeah, it's gonna be fresh. It's about 1/3 right there. I'm even gonna spice it up with a little curry powder. And it's done. Look at that steam coming off, nice and hot. Meal 2. I don't know what it is, but like after meals 2 and 3, so after the meal at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m., I'm just feeling like tired, relaxed. I just want to be lazy, but you know, I have to work here. And on top of that, 3 hours actually goes really fast when you're trying to dive in and get into like a flow state with work. I feel like I just finished meal 2 at 12, but it's already 2:08 p.m. And because I'm making my meals fresh today, because that's how I want to do it, that means I'm gonna have to get cooking pretty soon. We started this challenge on the weekend when I was able to just, you know, eat food and kind of do whatever, but like I'm trying to work here and it's interruptive, you know, and it also is making me tired. Enough is enough. You gotta be disciplined. You gotta do it. We gotta do what it takes to potentially recomp. Positive thoughts. Positive thoughts.
Feeling tired after meals 1 and 2, it was hard to really get into work with a lot of energy. Also, because I was preparing my food fresh this day, it was hard to really get in the zone for long before I had to make another meal. But really wanting my food fresh, I continued the rest of the day making every meal fresh and hot. But because I got nothing else done other than cooking, eating, and doing dishes, for the remainder of this experiment, I went back to meal prepping.
So anyways, I'm back to meal prep today. Yesterday I felt like I couldn't get into anything because I had to start prepping and making my meal soon after finishing the last meal. It was just like too much make and eat. I really just couldn't focus at work. So that's really where meal prep comes in great handy, is, you know, just being able to go to the fridge, get your meal, eat it. Now something special I'm trying to do today is I'm trying to strategically balance my meals. So as you notice for my first meal here, it's just sweet potato and bison. It doesn't have any vegetables. And I think I'm gonna do that for my second meal as well, because I'm gonna have these 2 meals before I work out. And vegetables, well, arguably good for you, have a lot of fiber. And that extra fiber, I don't think is really gonna do me any good when I'm going into my workout. You know, it's just gonna be slushing around in my stomach. So I'm gonna save the majority of my vegetables for later in the evening. Just pure fuel right here with this first meal. We're doing this right today. I can feel it, baby.
And this plan seemed to work great. Saving the majority of the fiber for the evening allowed the first 3 meals to essentially be just clean carbohydrates and protein, which felt like it digested quickly and never really bogged me down too much, leaving me to feel lighter and more energetic in my workout. However, one thing to note was I didn't feel satisfied at all after any of the meals without any vegetables. But once I did get working out, that hunger was blunted, and saving the majority of my vegetables for the final meals would be my approach for the remainder of this experiment.
So as opposed to days 1 and 2, where I ate the entirety of the 2 pounds of ground chicken breast and 2 pounds of grass-fed beef, on days 4 and 5, I actually didn't eat the entire 2 pounds because I was already overeating 1 pound of protein per pound of body weight. So what that means is today I actually do have some leftovers from the previous 2 days, which works perfectly so that I can eat my first 3 meals as leftovers today, just in time to get to the store to get more food, to cook more food for my final 2 meals, and then tomorrow's meals as well.
So on the final days of this experiment, I brought my total protein consumption down to around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, because a very interesting topic to explore is, what about too much protein? The whole bro science approach says, well, if you eat too much protein, it won't hurt you, you'll just pee it out, and everything else will be utilized. At least you're getting enough. But diving into this interesting topic, I found out on a basic level, consuming too much protein might increase the amount of nitrogen circulating in the blood, which might be overly tasking on the kidneys. However, a healthy individual should be okay. But looking at more long-term issues, I came across various articles exploring the impact of dietary protein intake on longevity and metabolic health. Now, specifically, diving in a little deeper, it was suspected that a higher amount of methionine, an amino acid largely found in animal proteins, was potentially the cause. Now, this can span into a ton of different arguments. However, from my personal experience, I always found that animal proteins seem to be absorbed better regarding athletic performance and muscle protein synthesis, and I also came across some interesting suggestions that potentially consuming glycine, another amino acid, may help balance out potentially over-consuming methionine. And I just happened to have some glycine, so I decided to take this supplement with the rest of the experiment. Blah 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 blah, getting super specific, but I think what it really comes down to is the golden rule. Yes, you can get too much of a good thing, and the key is to balance. Now, how you want to skew that balance is based upon experimentation with your body type. So for me in this experiment, I determined that around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight spread across 5 meals seemed to be optimal. And yes, I could go a little bit more protein than that, but maybe it was just a waste. So I filled in those calories with either carbohydrates or fats for the remainder of the days. And after finally getting the hang of this regimen, 1 week was over and it was time to see if eating 5 perfectly timed, balanced, protein-rich meals every day for a week made a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, you may just be surprised.
What's up, Home Slice? So it has been 1 week since eating 5 meals a day, perfectly timed. Let's take a look at the results. The first thing I notice is I look leaner in the afters, specifically in the abdominals. It looks like there's more definition. And then when I did just a pinch test, I know it's not super instrumental or anything like that, but with my hand, I noticed my skin felt tighter, indicating that yes, I probably am leaner. And the full body view, in my opinion, reinforces that because I noticed my legs also look more defined, indicating I am also leaner. So leaner, leaner, leaner. Now you gotta keep in mind, yes, it does look like I did get leaner, but like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I have been in a calorie deficit for some time now, a slight calorie deficit. And yes, maybe that's just 1 more week into the diet. But my opinion, if you're asking me personally, I think it's 33% 1 week more into the diet, but also 33% the quality and cleanliness of the food I was eating. Literally no sugar, not much added salt. I did put in my own salt, but like not a crazy amount of seasonings and packaged food with who knows what kind of seasonings. Very wholesome, whole cooked stuff all week. And then 33%, maybe the frequent eating allowed my body to get in more of a rhythm where I would excrete excess water more evenly, making myself appear leaner. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, all those things together, making myself look leaner. For I do believe if I would have just continued my diet as is for this week, I wouldn't have looked as lean as I do eating these 5 clean meals a day. I hope that makes sense. All in all, in the long term, would it make a huge difference? It's like, I don't know. All right, what do you think? Now, also interesting, if you haven't seen it already, I did do an experiment like this 2 years ago, a little under 2 years ago, where I ate 12 meals a day, 1 little meal every hour. And I gotta say, it did feel similar to this experiment, but 5 meals a day, in my opinion, way more sustainable and way more practical. And I feel like 5 to 12, really no difference in the feeling of like having that protein synthesis, like that food always flowing through your blood. I know that's total bro speakage right there, but hope you understand what I'm saying. I am actually very relieved that this experiment is over, not because I think eating 5 meals a day is necessarily bad, but because all of the preparation, making, and eating on the dot, it just got so time consuming, and it was really taking away from my productivity overall for other things. Now, if it was my full-time job, if I was like training to be a bodybuilder full-time, like that was my dream, I think this would be an optimal approach. Maybe like 3 to 5 meals, 4 meals, like the study says. I think that's actually pretty on point. Now, also interesting, it's day 8, it's a little after 9 a.m. and what do you know, I'm actually pretty hungry right now. About a week ago, 9 a.m. I would have been like, I'm good. I can totally fast this day. But like right now, I want a meal. That just goes to show you how your body gets used to these rhythms you put it into. So with that in mind, if there's anything you can take away from this right now, put yourself in a good rhythm. Put yourself in a healthy rhythm. And maybe if at first cutting out the sugar or eating that healthy food isn't the most pleasing, well, doing it in a rhythm over time, you might acquire a taste for it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, turn those notifications on. Hope you all have a great day. Peace. I will see you all in the next video.